Josh, I got to tell you, I have a slide in my presentations. Brand equals value plus values. I mean, dude.
All right, that worked. I haven't seen any of your stuff, just so you know.
I know, and I haven't seen any of your stuff, but personal branding, the idea for personal branding was, my first exposure to it was in Tom Peters' article in Fast Company magazine in 1997. It goes all the way back there, where he had an article called The Brand Called You. Look it up on fastcompany.com. Just type in The Brand Called You. You can still read the article where he planted this idea, or he was the first one to popularize the idea of branding yourself via the tools and techniques of packaged goods branding. And obviously, we're talking about some of the more psychological aspects and the personal development aspects of it. But his whole point of, you got to package yourself so people can understand who you are, what you do, and how you do it, how you're different than other people. And so consequently, take a look at the world of packaged goods. Why is Coke red, white, and Pepsi blue, red, and white, and prominently blue? Well, because they're the same damn thing. Sweet, brown, bubbly water with a slight flavor profile difference. Well, no, they're not. They're completely different, to the point that someone like me won't drink Pepsi, but will always seek out the red and white, you know? It's amazing how we're on the same page. And, you know, I love having this extended conversation because it allows us to go deeper into what we appear to be so passionate about.
I feel like we just barely scratched the surface.
Oh, we have.
There's so much more.
Well, maybe that's where you and I should start a podcast together that comes out, I don't know, every couple of weeks or once a month or something, to talk about this in more depth, because I agree with you. The people who are truly achieving success with their personal brands don't even know they're personally branding themselves. They are just being themselves in a way that people understand and can communicate to their friends who might need it. And in the book, Nonfiction Brand, my latest book, I tell the story of our family handyman. His name's Mark Williamson. I see him not very often, but he does a lot of work in our neighborhood. I'm out walking my dogs. I see his wrapped van, you know, his vinyl wrapped van. And I go, oh yeah, that's Mark. He's a good guy. And then I'm walking the dogs going, you know what? We need to replace the back deck. We get back home and I go, hey, Elizabeth, guess what? We should have Mark come maybe bid on the deck. I mean, just to get a ballpark. Just a ballpark. How much does it cost? And then boom, 4 weeks later, the deck is done, because I know exactly who he is, what he does, and how he does it. I respect him. Right. And by the way, my competitive bid process was, because I'm kind of a dad, we had to have at least someone else come out and bid. The people who came out bid about $750 lower than him. I'm like, no, I'll pay more from him.
Not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to go to the lower price provider when I have a brand that I'm fully associated with and who has satisfied me, and who I go out and act as an unpaid member of his sales force for. When people in our neighborhood say, do you know of a good handyman? Boom, I'm raising my hand saying, yeah, not only this, but he's great. Let me introduce you guys. I'll introduce you. I'll send you his email. That's how passionate a brand aficionado can be for a brand that they recognize and appreciate.
That's actually a really good point. Let's not gloss over this, because a brand will actually earn you a premium. So there's a lot of handymans out there, but there's only one Mark. There's only one of him. And when you bring your uniqueness, your brand to your commodity that you're offering, like handyman or insurance or whatever, you can now charge a premium. How awesome is that? Because you're the only one. No, you can't go anywhere else to get Mark the handyman. He doesn't exist in any other handyman or construction company. Oh my God. It's unbelievable. So people are leaving money on the table by not having a brand. They're actually robbing themselves of profit. And that's why I say humanity is more profitable than professional.
Oh, amen. And the reason I'm smiling and almost laughing is one of the more popular presentations I give is called Brand versus Commodity. If you're not the one, you're the other. And one of the slides,
if you're not the one, you're the none.
Yeah, well, and one of the slides is commodities are bought for the lowest possible price. Think about it. Commodities, you want to buy that at the lowest possible price. But brands command a premium.
Yeah.
I want to be a premium, not a commodity. I may look like a pork belly, but I'm not. Consequently, I agree with you 100%. Brands allow you to correctly price yourself to the market instead of trying to get what I call bottom feeders. There's a certain brand out of Bentonville, Arkansas, low prices every day. You can figure out what it is. Great. They are
rhymes with Walmart.
Yeah, it does. They are completely brand aligned with everything their brand is, which is why it's not a brand that I associate with. Mm-hmm. Their close competitor that is on paper, if you look at it, right, they sell the same products. They have similar discount pricing and stuff like that. Target, I look at my wife. She'll drive miles out of the way to go to a Target, even if Walmart's right next door. And we've talked about it. And she said, well, I don't feel like the floors are sticky. And it's like, yeah. And talk about reputation management and how you, the consumer, own the reputation of someone else's brand. They can't do much to change that reputation without changing everything their brand stands for, to which they say, we don't want you. You're the women who come in, you're the women and men who come in and complain about this not working. We go for the people who don't complain ever. You expect too much of us. We're not that brand. Oh, okay.
Okay. Perfect.
And again, another comparison, Samsung, Apple, Android, iOS. I never complain about paying way too much for a phone because that is my joy. I don't golf. I don't have a boat. I don't have, ATVs or anything like that.
Although I do hear you have this kind of guitar aficionado.
Well, yeah, I got a guitar fetish for sure. But anyway,
do you see what I mean? Guitar player too, by the way. Just so you know, I grew up playing guitar. I don't play as much anymore, but I used to. That kept me off the streets.
Well, believe me, and it's a lifelong thing. It'll be coming back. I guarantee you. You'll see this collection and go, "Oh, I got to get me some of those." Yeah.
You know what I have? I have a Padula. You ever heard of Padula guitars?
No. What is that?
They're famous for their bass guitars. They made this one actual electric guitar, and I still have it. It's one piece of wood. You know how a lot of necks are bolted on?
Yeah.
This is a solid piece of wood guitar. Really heavy, really dense, and just incredible. I don't know if it's worth anything but it's a cool guitar.
It doesn't matter because what sounds like two guitar guys geeking out over guitars is actually two brand guys geeking over the fact that, wow, that brand gave you a story that you are now communicating to someone who is immediately after this podcast ends going to start Googling Padula guitars because I've never heard of them. You told me an interesting story, and now I got to see what you're talking about because guess what? You have become an unpaid sales force member for Padula guitars because you know their brand and you've taken that brand, or what I like to call, grabbed it by the brand handle, or say it with me, brandle. You grab their brandle of everything it stands for. It's like a suitcase with a handle. You've now handed me that brandle and I'm going to do the work of opening the suitcase and going through it because you've given me enough reason to go, oh, that sounds cool.
And your wife is going to send me a nasty gram because you're going to go buy another guitar.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a given.
Like, why did you tell him about that?
Well, let me tell you that I've got enough guitar cases around here. Half of them are empty, so I can put it in the case.
All right.
It'll
be our secret. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's the power of branding. This episode of the Nonfiction Brand podcast is brought to you by my new book, Nonfiction Brand. Discover, craft, and communicate the completely true, completely you brand you already are, now available on Amazon.com. Jay Baer, best-selling author of Talk Triggers, said, "The book is outstanding, highly recommended, a spectacularly useful guide to personal branding that pulls off the difficult trick of being both realistic and inspirational. A must-read, regardless of where you are in your own brand-building journey." To get your copy, head on over to Amazon.com and search NONFICTION BRAND. And let's get you all the credit you deserve for the completely true, completely you brand you already are. Let me tell you, it's been such a treat to talk to you, Josh, because, again, we're in, brotherhood agreement on what this is all about, because you get it. Not anything you've said has made me feel like, oh, you're trying to sell a webinar. Or, oh, you've come up with some slick system with 10 easy ways to make six figures, any of that crap. Instead, and maybe it's because I'm hearing the truth I've discovered put into different words, I'm just going, testify. Absolutely right. So, Josh, I want to let people know how they can get a hold of you. And I'm going to throw on screen, connect with Josh Zepess at joshzepess.com/themission. But if you go to just joshzepess.com, you'll be able to connect with Josh in all his areas. But what is the mission? I'm just kind of curious about that.
I wouldn't use that link anymore. However, I will tell you what the mission was.
I'll get rid of it.
The mission, that's fine. The mission was, I challenged myself to help 100 solopreneurs answer the question, what do you do? The most important business question you're ever going to get asked. I did that it ended up taking me about 60 days to do it. And this is earlier this year. No, earlier this year. I don't even know what year we're in.
Oh, I know. COVID's done that to everybody.
This is like back in March or whatever.
Yeah.
So I did that. I helped 100 solopreneurs answer that number one business question. And I just gave it away as a free gift. It was just something I wanted to give them, this business asset that they can go use in networking and socialization. And it was so powerful because everyone got their unique version of it. We worked together about like a 30-minute master session, and it was great. So I still do it on occasion. I don't really offer it out to the public anymore. If somebody reaches out to me through this and says, hey, can I get that 30-minute master session? Would you mind? And I'll do it for free. I'll just help you out. I don't mind at all.
Well, and I'm just going to guess you now have 100 unpaid salespeople working for you, getting your
100%.
Brand out there. See,
Yes.
You gave in order to get. And if that's the only thing listeners of this podcast get out of this episode, that's a good thing. You got to give before you can get one thing at all. But if you're smart, you do it in a way that multiplies the effort you have, which is why I'm live streaming this to 5 different live platforms, multiplying myself and Josh to the entire online world, potentially. I'm sure they aren't watching, but you know what I mean. But that's the benefit of doing stuff like podcasts and live streams and things like that. So what do you have going on right now, Josh, that people might want to know about?
I've been out there. I have a webinar actually called the Lighthouse Effect, which is talking about how do you rise and shine above the sea of sameness in your crowded industry. How do you really stand out? And I go through some cool things that you can use right away to help you start differentiating yourself in the sea of sameness. So that's out there. You can find that on social media. And I've come up with another new concept that I'm launching tomorrow. Oh my goodness. The pilot group starts tomorrow. I've got people around the world in this pilot group, and it's called Micro Brand Attraction. It's your MBA that actually gets you paid. Not the one you spend $100,000 on that you put a plaque on the wall and it takes you 39 years to pay off. Not that MBA. I'm talking Micro Brand Attraction. And it's a 4-week little program where you just get the basic seedling core of your brand and how to articulate it. It's designed for independent contractors, for people like insurance agents, realtors, people in network marketing, people that don't need a full brand necessarily, or they're not ready for a full brand, but they just want to get some core piece down. And they want to be able to go give a 60-second pitch or an elevator speech or some basic things like that and tell their story. So I'm doing that as just a nice entry point into getting more people into branding, because I want more people to understand it, not be afraid of it. Understand it's not the same thing as marketing, which is another discussion we need to have, how branding, marketing, and sales are 3 very, very, very distant things. in the client acquisition process, even though everyone thinks marketing is everything. So that's what I got going on.
And you can check out all of it at joshzepess.com. Definitely check him out there. Are there any social channels that you're more active on than others?
Facebook and LinkedIn are my two favorite. So you'll find I'm the only person with my name. So you're never there's no confusion. If you see Josh Zepess or you see the Identity Archaeologist, it's me. And everything's public, by the way. I don't do any private stuff. Everything is out in the open. You get to see what I really think about politics. You get to see what I think about branding. I hide nothing. You're just getting me because I'm a world citizen. I believe in humanity. I want to see people. I want to see everybody do better, because if we don't, we're going to win in life together. We're going to lose in life together. And I don't like to lose. So we only got one direction to go.
Amen, brother. I mean, talk about brother from another mother. I got to tell you, Josh, what a treat to meet you. Thanks for being on the Nonfiction Brand podcast. I am encouraging everybody who's listening to this podcast to, by all means, like, subscribe, refer it to others. But can you do me a super solid and review it wherever you get podcasts for free? Because that really helps other people find it. Josh, do you have anything like that you'd like to promote?
I do have a podcast coming out very shortly, but I'm going to keep that closer to the vest for now. And then it's going to be celebrating a certain, call it groundbreaking coaches.
Sounds very intriguing. I'm sure you can find out more about that at joshzepess.com. You can see it on screen right there. By all means, connect with the dude, because seriously, he's got sincerity dripping off him like fat off a Thanksgiving turkey. And what a treat.
What a nice visual. I could smell that.
Yeah.
That smells so good.
Yeah, good. Once again, for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, I am your host, DP Knudten, and he is
Josh Zepess, the Identity Archaeologist.
And I'll be talking at you again next week. Bye-bye.